Sellers, we've been talking enough about the buyers.
Yep.
We want to give you sellers some advice in today's video.
Yep. So stay tuned. We'll talk about what to do if you're selling right now.
What to do, what not to do. So please stay tuned to today's video. All right, before we give you a long list of advice, we want to make sure that you call us.
Yeah, please. We're always looking for buyers and sellers. And I know that you and I tend to post a lot of videos and do a lot about luxury, but we do everything. We cover everything from small lots all the way up to really large luxury properties. New construction. But
yes.
if you ever need to reach me, I'm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can reach me on my cell phone, 941-586-2460.
And Zillow is not accurate. I actually have a listing coming up where there's no Zestimate on the property, and the other algorithmic websites that we can utilize, they were completely way off. One was spot on, and the others were kind of way off.
Sure.
So as agents here for a long, long time, all we do is negotiate all day long for pricing for our sellers. So call us. We want to make sure you know that before you dive in.
Yep.
So where should we start with?
So
where do we start?
Look, I think the biggest thing, and it's not just in this market, really in any market. I mean, even in an aggressive seller's market, price. I mean, you have to price the property correctly. Even more so, right now we have really moved into a buyer's market, and if you're a seller, it is even more critical now to make sure that you're properly priced. And when I say properly priced, I mean, if you are even a little bit too high right now, that notion of, well, we're a little bit too high, but somebody will come with a lower offer. They just won't. In fact, not only will they not come with a lower offer, they just won't come and even look at the property because that's not, everybody is going to sort of do the same thing. They're going to say, well, gosh, my budget is $800,000. They're going to look at houses that are $750 to $850, and they're going to compare which of these houses looks the best. So it's really important that you're looking at price. You're also looking at your upgrades and updates in comparison to the other houses that are in the market that are in your price point. So if you're, and you need to look at price properties that are 10 grand, 15, $20,000 above, and 10, 15, $20,000
I stretch it even more than that, because if there's, especially if a property's on the market a long time, you're going to have more room on that. Right?
Well, and I just think that making sure that you're properly priced from day one is critically important. I think that
it's hard to do sometimes because it is a moving target, and properties come and go pending and sell during the tenure of the time that you have a property on the market. By the way, Mark said the same thing. We just did a video of the end of August market.
It has to be properly priced.
Pricing.
And you will also, we are in a little bit of a bubble here in Southwest Florida in the sense that we have season. Season starts usually mid-October and runs through, I always tell people the Monday after Easter, it's like a mass exodus out of Southwest Florida. But I think that, even coming into season, there are going to be a lot of homes that are going to be hitting the market that are in mid-October, late October.
We have some coming.
We have several coming. And then, I think that it's important, though, that if you're not properly priced and you're going into season, so let's say you're saying, gosh, I really want to wait until season to list my property, you better make sure that you're properly priced, because there's going to be a ton of properties hitting the market at that time. And if you're not, you're going to find all of these homes around you are selling, and you're missing the boat. You've got to be competitive.
Right. I have one coming up. It's in the 300 range. So again, to your point, we don't just do luxury, right? This is a client of a long time. So I adore her, and she called me, and it's going to be in that 300 range. But the comparable properties are in a similar price point. And the active ones in the market right now are like 200 some days, 300 some days. That's not going to work for us. She's buying a new construction property, closing at the end of December, and the builder actually accepted a contingency. But we want to do it simultaneously or very, very in close proximity to that closing. And so, it's going to be my recommendation to price it under 300, because these are sitting over 300 days, and it doesn't make any sense.
Listing a
you're
property,
you're going to get a lower price the higher days on the market. We talk about this a lot ad nauseum. And we hate to say it, but it's the truth. Pricing is
critically important. But I also had recently, I had a property that was on the market. I said, look, our days are kind of coming up here. Let's pull it off the market and come back to market in October. Yep. Once we're going back into season. In that time frame, another property listed for more than what their property is listed for. Now I want to set the stage for you. So the highest thing that had sold in that community was $395,000.
Okay.
We were listed at $430,000, $35,000 higher than the highest thing that's ever sold in there. We took it off the market, decided we're going to come back in October. The thing is about that though, is another property got listed for above that. So my clients were like, well, wait a second
that was
here.
a really, really nicely upgraded one.
Mine was totally upgraded. The one that's being listed is totally upgraded as well, but it's being listed for $10,000 or $15,000, I think, above where we were. And so my clients were like, well, wait a second here. Should we be on market? I said, look, the old saying is listing a property and selling a property.
Two different things.
Are not necessarily the same thing. And so they can list it for whatever price they want. But they're going to find out in a really slow, really, quite frankly, a buyer's market, that they're really going to struggle.
And especially really with condos right now too, like Mark Rasmussen and I talked about this. Mm-hmm. We are seeing an influx of condos on the market because the insurance costs, the rise in HOA dues. Sure. So that's where pricing comes into effect even more. And it's just like that we do behind the scenes, that we help our sellers to present a piece of real estate. It's a product in the best light you possibly can. So you're controlling the controllables is what matters.
You want to control the controllables.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that you're working with an agent that is looking at the whole picture. And what I mean by that is this. I have clients that own a condo out on Longboat that we may be listing a little bit later this year.
You will.
Their HOAs out on Longboat have gone up 130, 140% over the couple of years that they've owned the property. So the problem with that is this. The condo is only a $550,000, $575,000 condo, but the HOAs are $1,600 change a month. So somebody can go out and buy a house outside of an HOA somewhere else in Sarasota. Their payment is going to be the same amount of money, but they can go all the way up into the low 800s.
And that's a struggle in that, let's say, $500,000 to $800,000 range when the fees are so high.
Right.
They might. That's where it kind of borders. Like, should I just go off island and buy a house, or that's the struggle with that price point? I think
you better really want to be on Longboat Key right now, and it doesn't matter. Like, I know that you sold a condo, probably one of the lowest priced condos on Longboat Key.
$382,500.
$382,500.
Got it done though.
HOAs.
But guess what? All the other properties are still sitting there. We bit the bullet. We got that price down, and all these other properties, I'm seeing them come off, lower. I saw one increase. The one that I sent you, it literally needs to be gutted, and they increased the price. I don't have any. I'm like,
the only thing I can
there's nothing that was renovated.
No, but the only thing I can think of is they realize, oh my gosh, we need a whole brand new roof, and we're going to try to get the buyers to pay for it. But like increasing the price, everybody can see that. That really is just shooting yourself in the foot. It's the worst
in that particular place, unless there's something I do not see, which it needs to be completely gutted, and you're increasing the price. What? Because you think that now there's less. It's just not going to work.
It's not going to work.
But we got that moved, and like literally everything that was listed during that time is still for sale, just like the one that we did in Grove City.
Grove City, we had a property. I think we've told the story before where there were 8 homes down the street. We went to our clients and said, look, guys, we haven't had a ton of activity here. The first one that drops the price here is going to get the winner. We dropped the price the same day we dropped the price.
But they still got, you know what? They still walked away with a lot of cash. They walked away ahead.
Let me say this too, though. Since then, and this was probably a solid 5, 6, 7 months ago at this point now.
Yeah.
Since then, more houses on the street have gone on the market, and nothing has sold.
Literally nothing.
Not a single property has sold.
But in addition to pricing, the agents that are actually going to go out and not just throw it in the MLS. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about 19 other ways that people find properties that are not in the MLS.
Right.
There's other avenues that we have if you're not a lazy agent, because there's plenty of people that are going to wash themselves out with the changes in the market here. We're not lazy. We have a whole value proposition. Let's talk about another sensitive piece of advice that is very important. One of the things that we do to market is offering a commission. It's part of the marketing. And if a seller has the mentality right now that says we're not going to pay the buyer's agent, I would strongly encourage you to just call one of us. We're happy to, even if you're not in our market, if you're an agent, you want to collaborate. If you're a seller, you want to talk to us.
If you're a seller in Phoenix, Arizona,
it doesn't matter. You call us because I think it's a good way to collaborate and just kind of figure this all out together. But offering a commission is part of our marketing strategy.
Well, I would encourage sellers, even outside of our market, to call us, because if I have nothing to gain or lose by telling you what I'm seeing in our market.
We're here to help.
But I would caution you also. There's a lot of news, obviously, talking about the buyer broker agreements and not paying buyers agents. I would still caution people: 85% of buyers are working with agents, even still now.
Right.
So if you're saying I'm not gonna pay a buyer's broker, you can be assured those 85% of agents are going to steer their clients to properties that are offering the 3%. Yeah. So if you're not going to, all you're doing is eliminating 85% of the market that are active buyers. Keep in mind that most of the time, and yes, I 100% recognize that there are brand new agents that will take anybody who wants to go look at property and go look. But by and large, your more seasoned agents, by the time they're taking a client out to go look at property, they already have basically qualified them down to this is the price point they're looking for, this is the area they're looking for, these are the. So by the time they're bringing a potential buyer to your listing, right? They already know they're pretty serious. Like they've at least, yes, I recognize they're brand new agents. And, their best friend says I want to go look at property.
We were both brand new at one time too.
Agreed. But I would say that, like, by and large, most agents have vetted their buyers to the point that they're bringing them. It's a better chance that it's a serious buyer.
Right.
So you're eliminating 85% of these people that are serious buyers that are in the market in the hopes of saving 3%. And the reality is that even if you do get a buyer who comes in,
they're going to write it into the offer.
They're just going to write it into the offer and say, we want to save 3% anyways. Now sellers are going to say, well, then why don't they just do that? Well, because they just won't. Like, agents are not going to put themselves in a position to risk doing all of this work and not getting paid.
I would say the next thing, a piece of advice for a seller is obviously understanding what your marketing is going to be. And it's really intense. A lot of the things that we do, we do behind the scenes.
Right.
There's a lot of different magazine opportunities that we get presented with. I had one, for example, that they reached out to me. They were offering like a discount on a full page in a very affluent magazine. It's called Affluent Proprietor Magazine. And so I ran a full page ad. It's coming out, I think, in the end of this month, August issue. But we get, because we're known in the business and we have we're the top 1%, good reputation, we get offered unique opportunities that some other agents wouldn't. Like this magazine opportunity, like it actually targets people that are 50 million plus net worth.
Right.
And they find we can target those people through like our Wealth Engine websites too. Like we can look people up, but they have a whole program where they target and send these magazines to. Like, how incredibly valuable is that?
Well,
to me, that would be valuable with an upper tier listing, especially.
You and I also have done, I think, a really good job in finding avenues and opportunities for different types of clients. What I mean by that is this, as an example. If I have a buyer who's looking at a particular neighborhood, and they get really specific. I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that has a swimming pool that's in Palmer Ranch.
I know what you're going to say.
We will absolutely, once you've hammered it, once we've gotten you focused down into the area, we'll go knock on doors. Now, we are not going to do that if you're wishy-washy and looking in 7 different areas and haven't said.
That doesn't make sense.
Once you've gotten it down to, though, I want this neighborhood.
I'll be like, let's go, Andrew. We ride it on.
But that's something that's additional that we do, but it also
it's work. It's literally pounding the pavement, but like that's the extra stuff that we're willing to do for a seller or a buyer, right? We're talking about sellers right now,
right? But like sellers, for example, the Grove City property, we had the listing,
found the buyer that way.
I went and knocked on doors, and we found the buyer that came and bought the property and paid all cash. a little over $1.9 million on that deal. So like, I always, when I'm talking to people, they say, well, what makes you different than the other agents? And what I will generally say is literally my daily physical actions. What am I doing? I'm physically going to go out and knock on doors. I'm physically going to pick up the phone and call people. I'm physically going to call other realtors. I'm like, you're not going to sell it nearly as many homes if you just throw it on the MLS and allow the marketing to do what it does digitally. You have to make physical movement and physically go out and do something to sell the product.
Another piece of advice would be, like we always say, control the controllables. Like there's been cases where, okay, right now we're in an inventory level of just under 5 months. It kind of went down a little bit, but it's typical this time of year. But there's more competition. So any little things that you can do, control, that might not be spending a lot of money, that you can do to make it, like make the presentation pop, give them less to object over, like painting the inside.
If you're getting feedback, especially in your first couple of showings, that, gosh, we really love the house, but these couple rooms are the paint.
Get the paint done.
It's not that expensive to paint a couple of rooms. Whereas conversely, though, I'm always cautious in saying these things because, look, if you're a seller and your roof is original and it's 26 or 27 years old, we get that you're not going to want to go put a brand new roof on a house that you're selling, but it might be worth the effort to say, well, gosh, a roof is $50,000. Let's just offer $25,000 credit up front.
Right.
We're splitting the difference
in the marketing, like advertise that you're giving the bonus for the roof.
Agreed.
I mean, it's hard because our position for our sellers is that we're not quick to spend your money because it's your hard-earned money. It's your choice ultimately. We are here, boots on the ground. We hear what the buyers want, and we want to eliminate as many of the objections as we. It's a different market. It's a different market. So we want to eliminate the objections either up front or during the showing. And part of that process is we actually show up to show our listings.
Agreed.
Sometimes we can't be there, and if a lockbox is convenient and the seller wants it, we will certainly offer that.
Agreed. But we really do show probably well over 75%, 80% of showings.
And some sellers don't want lockboxes at all, and we accommodate that.
Agreed. But I think also something that we offer is, you're going to have, as a seller, all these different vendors coming at you, trying to sell you something. Listen, I'm sure there are going to be really high-end agents that say, Andrew, you don't know what you're talking about, but I'm not a big believer in staging. It's just not my thing. Because you stage it with this type of furniture, and the buyers come in and they're like, well, I don't like that furniture. And at the end of the day, even on a smaller house, you're spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000.
A lot.
To me, I would rather you spend $5,000, $6,000, repairing issues that are going to have a bigger impact than having a couple of pieces of furniture that are.
Well, I go in and stage for my clients. I use what they have, and I go in and I declutter. If it's a really bad color, I will recommend painting. Usually, it's fine.
Right.
But I went in, and if you want to check out the 7160 Minnesota Key Road, that was one of the more recent ones. They didn't have a lot for me to stage. I just kind of
a lot of it's decluttering.
I wanted to have I like the whites and the neutral tones because it allows people to look at the home and the layout versus their things.
Right.
So I offer staging. When we take listings, we stage it because decluttering is staging.
But I'm talking about staging in the sense of hiring a staging company who's going to come in and bring in all new furniture, because to me,
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Expensive. I did stage one. My client really wanted it staged. The house was empty. It did work, but it was extremely expensive. I mean, it was.
They paid for it.
They did a living room. Yeah. They did the master bedroom. They did a dining room and the entryway.
It looked really good, though. It was in the Lakewood Ranch house.
The Lakewood Ranch house. That was, I believe, it was right around $7,500, and
that's not cheap.
And it was only 4 rooms, though. Remember, it's not all the bedrooms. It's 4 rooms, and we sold it. It was all cash, short closing. In the staging contract, there's a $500 fee to destage quickly for them to send people over there and pull the stuff out. So And that's only 4 rooms.
And then we offer to rephotograph, obviously if it's staged.
Sure.
There's also there's virtual staging that we do, which in some cases works really, really well. I did that on my Little Venice listing, and I want to say that it helped because I mean we're only 40 days on the market.
But I would almost rather digitally stage it than stage it.
It's so much more cost effective.
It's way more cost effective.
It is.
And all you're trying to do with the photos is get them to the property.
Get them out. You read my mind.
Once they're to the property,
then
they're going to look at. They're going to be able to see. Oh, obviously the furniture that was in the photos.
And even if they're in the house and they can't visualize it, I'm right there with my laptop or my phone, showing them. Okay, remember this is where the couch was, or you could do this and that. I think just doing that versus having on some of the listings we've seen where you walk in and they have like the billboards, the little canvases. To me, that just looks weird because you expect to walk in a house with furniture, not like these boards of things that could be done hypothetically. So I don't know. I think that the virtual staging accomplishes that too. So pricing, offering a commission, controlling the controllables, staging.
Looking at your comps.
There's a ton of other things.
Those are the basics. But look, I think Mark, if you ask me one thing, tell me one thing. This is the number one thing. It's always going to be price.
Yeah.
It's always going to be price. If you're
supply demand.
And this notion of we're going to overprice it, knowing that we're overpriced, but people can bring a lower offer. They just won't.
They don't. And the days on the market, like the one that I said that are in the 200s and the 300s days on the market, we're going to swoop in at a better price. Watch, it'll sell faster. It will.
Agreed.
And she'll end up, the bottom line is what we all want for our sellers is the best net for you. And the way that we get that is through those things that we do recommend, the top things, but there's a bunch that we do, all the marketing and advertising that we do once we get a listing. The more eyes on the property, the better. And also another thing, just to end it on something else that's unique, we have that list track report.
We do. And so
we can target those people.
Our list tracking is so great because it not only tells you how many people have saved it as a favorite, have looked at it, but also you can really deep dive into where these people
in the world.
Now, something that's really great.
It's kind of creepy and cool.
Well, but I think something that's really great that we bring to the table is it's one thing if you live in Sarasota and only people in Sarasota are looking at the property. Usually what that tells me is that the agent is throwing it on the MLS and doesn't really have any marketing to generate any leads from anywhere else.
No reach.
They have no reach. Whereas if you look at our list track reports, you're going to see people are looking in Asia.
All over.
We've traveled to Europe twice now for investors, which, by the way, we think we may have something, 2 listings potentially.
Coming.
Yeah, potentially 3 listings coming that will be
generated because of
our trip to Europe.
Going to Europe,
from our trips to Europe. And obviously, we don't want to get into specifics until it's done, but it's we do actually actively go to Europe and market ourselves.
We might be going again soon, but not soon, but soon enough.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind saying we tend to go in May for a couple of
we'll
weeks.
See. It'll be good. But back to the list report. So case in point, so my 7160 Minnesota, I checked on it yesterday because I sent him a very detailed follow-up marketing report.
Sure.
It's like this long. They know where their properties being marketed. And in the list track, I noticed because the last time I looked, it was like Lakeland, Tampa, and like 4 parts of Florida that they were looking. Well, when I went back, we had 2 of the top buyers looking in terms of search number of buyers from California, and then 1 from Germany, and then 1 other part of Europe that was new. So I was like, I wonder. So we're seeing more saved on that house, and now once it's saved, they might have a trip coming.
Right.
So it's interesting. So when we do start to show our listings, we're like asking where they're coming from, because the marketing works. Marketing works.
It does, and I think that how are you getting that? So that if I'm the seller, I would say to me as the agent, what are you doing to generate leads from Europe and Asia and from other parts of the country?
I'd be amazed.
Well, one, our YouTube channels have a great reach.
Yeah.
They are generating not only leads for us, but they're also generating views on our properties because they click on our YouTube channel. They start watching the videos, and they're like, "Gosh, well, let me see what this guy has for listing."
And what else does
he have? They click onto our website, and the next thing you know, they're looking at our listings.
Yeah.
And, we also tell everybody we always show our listings first, our office's listings second, Coldwell Banker's listings third,
and
then
everybody else
is
last.
MLS last.
Yeah.
So if you are working with us, you do have people that are actively marketing not just themselves, but your property as well.
And speaking again about the trips to Europe, I mean, when we came back from that trip, everybody's now on our social media, and then I share the YouTube there. So we're always cross-collaborating with one another, and now we've met these people in person. And if they have a buyer for one of our sellers in Florida, they're obviously going to call us first because we've broken bread with these people. We're now, when I post on social media, I see that they're watching us. Like, it's a good feeling because, like, if I have someone over there to send to them in Monaco or Stuttgart or Cannes or whatever, it's a natural thing that you're going to refer to someone like and trust, or you've had coffee with or had lunch with. So I'm looking forward to, like, next year already going back.
And this trip would be our third trip.
Yeah.
We're getting better at it. We're learning from each trip and getting better and understanding, like, what's the better way to set this up. Admittedly, when we're going to these places, we are going generally looking more for investors that are looking for ultra luxury properties.
But you never know where it's going to lead. I mean, we did a presentation in Stuttgart, which is outside of
Stuttgart's
Leonberg.
Yeah, but it's Leonberg's a tiny town outside of Stuttgart. Stuttgart, of course, is famous where they make all the Porsches. Porsche is based there. But I just think that, like, we're really starting to hit strides and have some of these trips produce.
That's cool.
Sellers, buyers.
It's relationships. No matter if it's referrals. I get a few referrals from agents around the country and around the world per month. And that's because of the reach that I have from, YouTube being second to Google and search engine optimization. I mean, the first year that Coldwell Banker switched from TV to YouTube, we had 600 million views on our Coldwell Banker YouTube site alone, not to mention our each individual YouTube sites. So, gosh, this video could be like 3 hours long.
Yeah, so
if you're still watching, thank you.
I think that we've covered it pretty well. If you're a seller, obviously,
we have a lot of advice for you.
Here in Sarasota, we have a listing appointment today that we'll be meeting with somebody. And so I just think that, like, it really is important that you have a really full-time agent that's working with you, and that you're focusing on price. We're always available. You can feel free to call me anytime on my cell. My cell phone number is 941-586-2460.
And we work a wide area from Anna Maria to Minnesota, Port Charlotte.
We're all the way to Port Charlotte,
Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton.
I'm starting to market even out to Boca Grande now. So we're all the way west, all the way south.
And he lives in further south. I live in Sarasota, so we kind of like, it's good because we have a lot of lister company listings. We want that white glove service for clients. And so he's there, I'm here, and we kind of cover everything in between to offer the best service, marketing, and experience for you as our sellers. So we've got more advice if you want it. So call me at 941-544-7690. We'd love to hear from you.